Well, hello, this is Cougar Cassius from IFL TV interviewing Chris Eubank Senior. Chris, great to see you here today. Yeah, can you tell us about your relationship with your son, Chris Eubank Jr.? Well, of course, Coogan, I'm happy to tell you about my son Junior and how I have brought him up to be decent. I have brought him up to know the difference between right and wrong. You see, I've taught him to have an accurate moral compass, to know what is good and what is bad, and what is the difference. Do you know what I mean? You see, when you see Junior, you've seen a man that knows the difference between right and wrong, just like I did. And I'm proud that I have brought up a man who has morals, who has decency, who can act in the correct manner. Yeah, but Chris, didn't you let him get brought up by a random woman you met in a bar for 5 years? Yes, Coogan, but I did what I did because I believed it was the right thing to do at the right time, to take him away from his family and to learn to grow. So, Chris, do you believe it was right that he took part in threesomes with his own brother and engaged in violence? Listen, Coogan, it's not up to me to judge Junior. I let him make his own decisions as a man, and I made him a man, and that is why I am a great daddy. Yeah, what's up, man? Baseboxing Basement. Make sure you hit the like because it's free. I don't know if that was funny, if it really worked. I'm not an impressionist. I've been kind of motivated by this guy called Tony Lapidus, who does a lot of good impressions about boxing people and about other people. And here he is, pretending to be Eubank. So check him out, man, and make sure you like him on Instagram.
This is Cougar Cassius here with the one and only Chris Eubank Senior. Chris, good to see you, mate.
Good afternoon.
Got to start by saying congratulations on the news from Junior.
Oh yes, it's wonderful news. It's that's what I call success.
Right, I've got to ask you, what kind of a dad would you say you was to Junior?
I mean, I was a wonderful daddy to him. I was the most beautiful sugar daddy. It was beautiful. And he knows. Okay, so how do I put this? Let me tell you what kind of a daddy I was to my son, and he knows it. I raised him to respect the rules. Yes. I said, you can't speak however you want. You can't use potty foul-mouthed language. I said, and I tried to explain this to a journalist. He's for whom I have utmost respect. But he knows nothing about boxing because he's never felt it. And that's the kind of daddy I was to my son. I said, you have to have rules, to have standards, to have precepts.
Okay, but do you think rules should be changed?
No. This is no. You have to respect and obey the rules. There are rules. The rules and precepts of Queen Elizabeth II. She was beautiful, a perfect beacon. And I was the perfect daddy because of my rules.
Right, so will you be supporting your son again?
Okay, so I have no reason to doubt, nor fear, nor run from the man standing in front of me, whether he's holding an olive branch or a gun. I have no ego, no pain, no need to engage with the kind of thing that emanates from him that is often described as rage.
Okay.
Xi Jinping said that. Rastafari reach.
Yeah, Tony Lapter's quite funny. He's not always perfect, but he's very good. Check out his Instagram. But you know what's weird, right? Hypocrisy, the intense hypocrisy of the Eubank family. For example, okay, now obviously it's a dreadful shame what happened to Seb, and may he rest in peace. That's very sad. But Chris Eubank Jr., who's always boasts about being a great dad, yeah, randomly met some American woman in a bar in Germany. Yeah, and there was a big article about this in the Daily Mail and other papers. It's been taken down. It's been, forgotten, which can be due to legal issues. But also, quite often, newspapers will just drop articles that they feel are no longer relevant to their agenda. But in that article, Chris Eubank Sr. met randomly some middle-aged American women in a bar, I think in Germany, and he decided that his two sons, and he has more than two sons, but Seb and Chris Jr. would go and live with this woman in America, right? And they lived there for years. What? I mean, what a strange thing to do. Abandon your children when they're teenagers, right? And let them be brought up by a total stranger. Not only that, and this is where it gets interesting. The article in the Daily Mail, which obviously is not to be trusted, but whatever. The woman said that the children, Seb and Chris Jr., were terribly behaved. They were always getting into fights, getting into violence. They would bring back females. They would engage in threesomes, right? Threes up together with one female. Now, think about how creepy that is. Imagine being with your own brother and rumping up another woman. I couldn't think of anything worse than watching my brother with wood, having drawn wood in his quarry and doing another woman. How on earth can that be considered normal behavior? How on earth can that be considered a turn on? Yeah, and this woman said they were terribly behaved and eventually returned to Chris Eubank Jr. Chris Eubank Sr. And it's been, like I said, it's sort of been forgotten. It's been shut down, that conversation. The whole story's been shut down for whatever reason. But even just the fact that you would give your sons away to a random woman you met in a bar, it's very bizarre behavior. And Eubank, I mean, I know I did a stupid skit at the beginning, but Eubank's always bragging on how what a great father he is, what a positive influence he's had on his kids and bringing them up. When in reality, they were, as youngsters, from all intents and purposes, scumbags. Whatever happened later, that's no way to behave. That's no way to behave. And it gets worse, because there is another son. A third son, and his name is Joseph Eubank, okay? And they all live in Brighton, which, as we all know, is a very fruity establishment, a very fruity environment. But this is the headline. Boxer Chris Eubank's son, Joseph, 27, dragged a girl 16 along the Brighton beach before raping her near the pier. Now, ultimately, he was found not guilty, but that doesn't mean he didn't do it. That means there wasn't enough evidence. Why would a 16-year-old girl, right, think about it, why would a 16-year-old girl engage in intercourse, right, with a man, a grown man, more than 10 years older, and then claim that she was raped? It smells of lack of evidence, or, the victim, who was young, only 16, felt real pressure when put in the witness box and didn't give a good account. Or maybe it's worse. Maybe they protect the Eubank family. Why? Because this happens all the time. The CPS, the so-called justice system is corrupt. And Eubank is known as Chris Eubank Sr. is known as an establishment member. He was even on the bus, the double-decker bus with Cliff Richard, the well-known wrong'un, right? Parading at Queen Elizabeth II's funeral. Now, you do not get in a position like that unless you are fated and you are part of the establishment. Could that have anything to do with it, I wonder? But the reality is this. It's like that family is exceptionally dysfunctional. And what about the mother, Karen? You remember Karen? She's the mother. Marry me, Karen. Marry me. You remember after the Nigel Benn, Chris Eubank fight? Marry me, Karen. Even though it is well known that he cheated on her repeatedly. Yeah. They're divorced now, I believe, but, he cheated on her many times. He admitted it, right? And then he farmed his own kids off to a random stranger in America for a number of years. Why would his wife, why would a mother agree to that? Why would a father agree to that? Also, in Brighton, in fruity Brighton, Chris Eubank Jr. claimed to be a gangster and an enforcer. And there's a famous video of him, right? There's a famous video of him getting in a fight with someone else in a car park. Now, so what, man? He got in a fight with a car park and all that, but, he's meant to be a well-brought-up boy, middle class, rich, in Brighton, and he's sitting there rolling around, bashing someone up in a car park. I don't know, man. This whole, this family is dysfunctional, right? It's in disarray, right? They are hardly they should hardly be held up, right, as a model of how to run a family. And yet, the mainstream media story, which obviously the narrative that they portray is, oh, it's amazing, Chris Eubank Sr. decided to come in the ring with his dad, with his son and support him at the last minute. He's kind of bum. Oh, it's so beautiful. Why do they continually lie to us? Simplify events, right? And manufacture a story, a narrative that isn't reality. And it's even in their own papers that it isn't reality. But people are such idiots, they'll believe anything they're told. Now, having said that, I've actually grown, some respect for Chris Eubank Jr. because he is called out. The main boxing promoters, Fish Eyes, Eddie Hearn, Wasserman, and he called them scumbags. And he's quite funny, actually. I quite like him. He's grown on me. I didn't like him for years, but he's grown on me. But then again, I don't dislike Conor Benn either. I think Conor Benn, well, he failed a drug test, but listen, man. So did Roy Jones Jr. Evan Fields, Evander Holyfield took drugs. Shane Mosley. What, you thought Glotta? Tommy Morrison admitted taking drugs. All these top guys. Canelo's failed a drug test. Muhammad Ali failed a drug test, albeit diuretics. You know what I'm saying? And what, you don't think all these people are using performance-enhancing drugs? So that doesn't bother me. But they being the media, have manufactured the good guy and bad guy story. And that's what they do all the time in the media. Is, they make everything out to be like Star Wars. The good guys are this, and they're good, and the bad guys are Darth Vader and the stormtroopers. The good, It's simplistic, it's idiotic, and people fall for it because people want an easy story to understand because they're idiots. When we all know the reality is that the truth is always more complex, always a lot more complex than is portrayed. And with regards to Eubank, Junior and Senior he's a hypocrite. He smokes weed all the time. He almost, didn't he kill someone or almost kill someone in his truck? He claims he's a Muslim, but then also a week ago, I seen something, him talking about the Bible and how the Bible is the guide to life, which I agree with, by the way. But these guys are changing their opinion all the time. Changing their story, changing in how they appear in the media, and the normies lap it up. Anyway, I don't know why I even went down this path, this channel, because I don't really care about Conor Ben, Chris Eubank Jr. fight. The first one, vaguely interested, but the second one, I'm not interested. And I actually hope Conor Ben wins on points, just because it will annoy the normies. Peace in the Middle East.